The student database in SIMS is a very extensive source of information. Let me just open up a student record for you so you can see how much information there is. We're looking at what we'd call the administrator's view at the moment, which has got the full database record. You can see it's split into numerous sections, 13 in total in this screen. First of all, in the basic details section, you've got typically what you'd expect: name, middle name, legal surname, preferred surname, and so on, date of birth. Here we've got a photograph of the student. Now the photographs can all be imported individually or as a batch, perhaps from a CD or so on. In the registration section, all the registration information for that student, which year group they're in, which registration group, and so on. Now each of these sections can be reached by either scrolling down, as I have been doing, or by clicking on the hyperlink that you've got at the top of the screen to take you to all the various sections. Within the addresses section, section 3, that'll show you then the address or multiple addresses for that student. You can see here that this student has got a current home address and a current overseas address. And each address then has a date record against it so that you can actually record past addresses in the system. So when a student moves house or they move address, you can actually record a history of the address that they previously lived at, or you can record perhaps a future move, so perhaps they're not moving for a few months' time, and you can record the future address in the system as well. Further down then, information, telephones and email addresses, as you may expect. And in the family home section, all the various contacts that relate to that student. In this case, I've got a mother and a father listed, and I can see immediately then one of whom lives at the student's address. They share an address because they've got the house symbol which appears to the left of that contact. Mrs. Abbey, who's the mother, she doesn't live at the same address, so her house symbol doesn't appear. Also, a bit further down, I've got some family links. That shows me any siblings that exist within the system, be they current or former or future students, and it shows me which year and registration group they're in. You can have as many contacts as you like recorded against a student. In the family home section of different relationships, you've got father, mother, guardians, aunts, uncles, helpers, various contacts that you can record. And the students can actually be linked together against the same contacts as well, so you build up a family group, which is where this family link comes from. Each contact as well, if I just open up Mr. Abbey, has their own full database record. So you can see here Mr. Abbey, I can record his full name, whether he has responsibility for the child in the database. If I'm using the fees billing module, whether he's the bill payer, what his priority is, whether he's priority 1 or 2, or whatever you choose. Each contact then can also have multiple email addresses and multiple telephone numbers as necessary. And similarly, they can have multiple addresses: home, work, overseas, other. Later on then, I've got information about some job details, and as I was mentioning before, if you happen to be using the billing module in school, you can record some billing information for them as well. Also, against every student, every contact, you've got a means of recording notes and linked documents, and they can be recorded here. Let's move on then through the student record. We've got other sections then, such as dietary needs, so you can record meal patterns of the students. So if you want to record then whether they're eating school lunch at the school canteen, or whether they're bringing their own sandwiches or going home for lunch, their pattern can be recorded here. That pattern can also feed through to the catering module that works through the point of sale in the school canteen, or it can just be for your own information. There's quite an extensive medical section as well for all the students, recording their dietary needs, whether they need any medical support and so on, and which doctor's practice that they're linked to. And in some cases through the system, some of these field labels are underlined, and you can see that they actually hyperlink to another report of some description. In this case, this shows me then any other students that share that common link that have a dietary need of no nuts of any type or quantity. And all of these reports are printable as well. You can print that out. Further down then, other information which you may want to record: ethnic, cultural information and nationality, passport details, their religion and so on. More additional information to do with meals and modes of travel to the school, any welfare information, and then in section 11, school history, so any previous schools that child may have attended. And if you've taken the opportunity to export and import data from SIMS and share it between schools, it'll import in the previous school's data and some attendance information as well. Right at the very bottom of the screen, we've got a section labelled User-Defined Fields. Now here we've got the opportunity to actually add our own fields to the system. So if there aren't quite enough fields in SIMS for what you need, then you can add your own to this section here. In this example, I've got locker number and media permission. However, you can add whatever fields you like of different types. You've got small text fields, big text fields, notes fields, date fields, tick boxes, and even lookups as well. And any of those fields can actually be positioned in one of these sections. So they can actually be positioned in a section that you choose of any of these that exist. Something you may have also noticed as well is appearing in the system are history buttons. Now SIMS records the full database history of every change that's ever been made to a student through their school history. And by clicking on the history button, I can get a snapshot of what that student's history was like. You can see here by the screen I've got up on the screen here, I've got a green line which shows me that this is the student's record for the registration groups and the year groups as it is today. But if I want to, I can move back to any point in history and see the change in that information. So if I just move back a couple of years, I can see then that in 2008-2009 that student Jimmy, he wasn't in the school, but if I roll it forward, can you see then from 2009-10 he was in year 7, and then in 2010-11 he was in year 8, and at that point as well his boarding status changed. Can you see here in August of that year? So that history record appears all the way across through the SIMS system. You can even make use of the links button on the right hand side and click on the history button here,